The Blast from Our Past Network.
Lock your doors, close your windows, turn out your lights, for chills and thrills await you. It's time for Podcasting After Dark with your hosts, Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer. Stay with a friend, say your prayers as grisly ghouls close in to seal your doom. Tonight's episode, Hearts of Darkness, The Making of the Final Friday, starring Kane Hodder, Stephen Williams, and Julie Michaels.
Yay, we're making a movie, and it's a Friday the 13th movie. It's Jason Voorhees. This is freaking awesome. Here we go.
Anna Marcus, get on out here.
You know, I was 23 when I made this movie. Why the fuck would anyone let a 23-year-old direct a franchise movie, right?
He was a child. He was a baby. He was like damn good director, knew his business.
Adam had just this great energy about it.
It was a tight schedule and tight budget. We shot 1,000 setups in 30 days.
Blood everywhere.
Please! How's that? It was fucking gorgeous. Okay.
My favorite kill in the movie is the split body.
Look, if you're gonna die, go big or go home. Dying while having an orgasm, and as an actor, I was like, that's like a steak dinner.
That's some crazy shit. I knew we would get one shit in there.
That makes me think of a little girl in a pink dress sticking a hot dog to a donut.
What does this line mean? What the hell am I saying?
To this day, I have no fucking clue. It wasn't even a discussion. It was, Kane Hodder's gonna do the movie. Well, yeah, he is Jason. The guy has kill tattooed on the inside of his lip.
There it is.
That's Kane.
People probably roll their eyes and stuff, but I honestly feel like I was born to play Jason. Now get out of the shot before I fucking kill you.
Action!
When I saw the bust of me in the makeup trailer, I was a little weirded out.
I've got a black tongue going out of my mouth 6 feet.
Everybody's on set going, yeah, that's a penis, you know?
That's shocking.
The initial reaction was not great.
It was not loved.
It was the worst garbage in the world.
I was actually disappointed.
I've had 3 people wish me ass cancer. Wow, man, why is it always about my ass?
Whether the fans liked it or not, here we are, all these years later, still talking about it.
If you don't like it, you can go to hell.
This isn't the movie for nuance. You know?
Cut!
Ha ha ha!
That's your Freddy?
I gotcha, bitch! What's up, everybody?
Freddie and Jason.
That's right, baby. That's right. And welcome to Podcasting After Dark, the #1 cult movie podcast on the internet. I'm one half of the pad team proper, Corey, a.k.a. Sleazy C. I almost had a Friday the 13th name, but I couldn't think of it. Joined with me, as always, you know what, for this also, Zach, we'll bring back Zach Tiny T. Schaefer.
Sure. I mean, I was thinking like Billy and Chuck would be good.
Or, oh shit, what are the two Drive Time guys? Matt and Brian, is that what it was? The fucking, oh dude. Yeah, Mark and Brian, the LA radio guys.
Hey, Mark and Brian, all right, coming at you. WKJFX. That's Kill Jason and Freddy. Jason goes to hell.
Right time in the morning.
All right, bing bong. You know what time it is. Time to cook. Get crazy with Jason Goes to Hell documentary. Oh, God.
Oh, boy. And, yeah, guys and gals, this is going to actually be a fun one.
Yes.
I almost want to call it like a double feature. We're kind of doing a double feature here. We are both...
Twofer. Hey, it's Twofer Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. It is Tuesday. We're recording this on Tuesday. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But you're probably listening if you're listening to this on a Monday, keep listening. Then go to Tuesday. Listen to it again, and it'll be even better.
That's right. So we are going to review the documentary Hearts of Darkness, came out in 2025. It's about the making of Jason Goes to Hell, which came out in 1993. And we're kind of using this as a platform to both review the documentary and Jason Goes to Hell itself, which actually, Zach, this is our first Friday the 13th movie we've ever reviewed on the show.
It's shocking that we haven't done a Freddy movie either, actually. So yeah, we discussed the Freddy Nightmare show and Jason Friday the 13th television series on TV Obscura. I believe we did that way back when with Diallo. And this obviously has a connection to Friday the 13th, the series, in a cool way. So yeah, I'm happy that we're doing this movie now. I would love to do more in the future. Yeah. It's been decades since I watched a Friday the 13th movie, so getting to rewatch this one since I saw it in the theater. It's funny. You own physical media, but then you still don't watch it, you know?
God, bro, tell me about it. I haven't watched a solid 60% of the Blu-rays that I own.
but you have them. It's like all y'all who have books on your shelves. You know you're not reading those books.
You don't read.
You're not a reader. I'm not a reader. I try to be. But anyways, yeah, it's cool. I'm glad that we're doing this.
Yeah, me too, man. And I guess, you would say that Friday the 13th movies and Nightmare on Elm Street movies aren't technically cult films. They're much more mainstream nowadays. But as far as like in the genre or in the franchise of Friday the 13th, this one's probably considered a cult film in that actual franchise because it's very divisive, whichever way you want to say it. How do you say it, Zach? Divisive or divisive?
Divisive. Yeah, divisive.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, divisive.
Yeah. So before we jump into it, Zach, I do want to get your I do want to get your first impression of Jason Goes to Hell. When you saw it in the theater back in 1993, I was 15, so you were what, probably 16 and a half, 17 years old, depending on when it came out. What were your thoughts of it when you first saw it? Were you prepared for the whole body swapping thing?
I went into it cold. I don't believe I remember knowing the plot before I went into it, but I, being a, super horror nerd, was so excited for it because the one that had come out prior, I believe, was in the 80s, right? Jason Goes to New York or whatever.
Yeah, part 8 was the prior
Manhattan.
one. Yeah, the Manhattan one. Yeah,
which was that? Yeah, that was the last one before this, right?
Yeah, yep. I think that was 88 or 89. Yeah.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen one, so obviously I was hungry for a Jason movie. I don't remember the trailers necessarily spoiling the whole body swapping thing. So I was 17, yeah, when I saw this movie because it came out in August of 93. I was excited for it. I think I was disappointed initially on one hand. And on the other hand, I was like, this is a cool concept. So I was disappointed yet intrigued. Like sushi. Sometimes you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. And then you eat it, you're like, it wasn't so good, but it looked interesting.
Okay. I kind of had the same feeling as you. I went and saw it in the theater with my buddy Luke, and I think we both walked out of there being like, okay, that's not what I expected. And I don't know if I like it, but at the same time, it was so different that it was interesting. And, it caused us to talk a lot, especially all the little, Easter eggs that are put in it and everything. I know you recognized the Necronomicon when you saw it. Like what were your feelings? Like, were you shocked when you saw that? I know I was.
I love those little nods. I love seeing the connection to Friday the 13th, the series. That was cool. I love seeing Aaron Gray pop up. Like character actors that I was like, dang, that's a cool choice. I'm glad they put that person in it. Watching it 30 some odd years later, 33 years later, which is mind blowing. I'm still kind of blown away by that.
Yeah.
It's so super cool. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, no, me too. I was, I literally remember nudging Luke in the theater and be like, "Oh my God, the Necronomicon!" Like we both, to use a wrestling term, popped for it. Obviously,
marked out.
There we go. We marked out for it. There you go. Trying to speak Zach's language. I didn't notice until the documentary, but apparently the crate from Creepshow 1 is down in the basement. The crate that Fluffy was in, that eats Adrian Barbeau, that's in the basement. And apparently the jungle gym that's in front of the Voorhees house is the actual jungle gym from the Birds. So that's there. So he was trying to create not just like a Friday the 13th / Evil Dead connection. Adam Marcus was trying to create like basically a whole horror universe years before the MCU and everything even existed. This is like the horror cinematic universe, and this movie is the linchpin to that. But Zach, we got to talk about it now. Again, first impressions when you saw Freddy's hand come out at the end. Like, again, I was not prepared for that either. I had no idea it was coming. Me and Luke fucking freaked out. We became that, and fuck this guy, but we became that Joe Rogan meme where we're screaming, all excited and everything. Like that's how I remember, and that's how we walked out of the theater like, oh my God.
I'll use the Nintendo GIF or meme or whatever, that kid opening up the Nintendo on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
I'll be that kid. That's how I felt. As a horror nerd in the 90s, like, oh my God, to see Freddy pop up at the end was huge. And I wanted more of that. That to me will always stand out, no matter what flaws this movie has, because it has many. I will always like push those aside for that final scene of the movie because I love it.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too. And so fast forward maybe a year, maybe 6 months or so, and I start hearing about, maybe it's through Fangoria or whatever, but I start hearing about all the gore that was cut from the film. And so when it finally comes out on VHS, it's, to me, and this is sort of how I remember things going, it kicks off this whole era of VHS, the unrated version of things. Now, over time, we discovered that some of these unrated VHS and thus DVDs later weren't as exciting. They didn't really put that much back in. But this movie technically has about 3 minutes worth of cuts to it. And
that's a lot of time. Dude,
that is a ton of time. And most of it is gore. And so, to me, again, like I said, it kicks off this era of being like excited for the director's cut. And this is also at the same time that Return of the Living Dead 3, it sees a regular release VHS that's chopped up, and then it gets an unrated release that I remember hearing about, and that has gore added back in. So it's like the perfect storm of these two movies that were so influential to my sort of horror hound, mid-teens, where I'm getting excited for director's cuts. And this, even to this day, when I think of a director's cut or something, these, like Return of the Living Dead Part 3 and Jason Goes to Hell, are the gold standards that I compare every director's cut to. Do you remember watching the fully glorified version of Jason Goes to Hell and what your thoughts were?
Yeah, so I guess I need a correction. I hadn't seen this movie since I watched the unrated director's cut that came out after. That must have been in the mid to late 90s because I got the DVD, which I still have.
Yeah, okay.
And so, and I remember, I was, of course, excited to see the additional scenes. One scene in the tent I was more excited about.
Yeah.
And at the time, and it's still kind of am. It's, not going to lie. But yeah, I mean, you need the gore because if you watch the original version, it's very tame compared to what the unrated version is. And thank God they released an unrated. Yeah, I hadn't heard about, you said Return of Living Dead 3, this movie, The Getaway was the one that had like more racy sex scenes.
More sex scenes.
And you're
like,
like,
Baldwin straight up
wow.
goes down on his wife in that movie. Like it's one of those movies where I think they're actually having sex for realsies, like Wild Orchid. I think
they were. Yeah. Just like in that movie Wild Orchid with Mickey Rourke and Carrie Otis.
Yep. And then apparently, I think Monsters Ball with Halle Berry and Billy Bob Thornton is another one that people rumored, that they're actually having sex. But yeah, no. So it's like this. It was a wonderful time because at that time, home video wasn't just a secondary thought. It was almost like,
Right.
okay, now I get to see the preferred version. And then that later on almost became a marketing stunt. Like I almost feel like they put out like the rated R neutered version in the theaters just so they could sell unrated versions of movies on DVD. You'd see stuff like, I don't know, like remember the movie with Kane as the killer, See No Evil or something. It's like, it's just like all the DVDs, especially if they were Dimension movies or Miramax releases, the whole more gore, like uncut version is like almost bigger than the title of the movie itself on the DVD cover,
Yeah, and they didn't live up to the hype,
No.
Because at that point it was like, oh, we're gonna have we got to get the audience to home video sales counted so much back then because things were going, straight to Suncoast or straight to, where you could buy it off the shelf versus in the 80s and early 90s when things were still $100 for the cassette tape and you couldn't buy it until it got put on the, previously released shelf or whatever. Now it was like, oh, you can own it immediately as soon as it comes out and get the unrated version. And Blockbuster wasn't giving those versions out. So you could go to Blockbuster to get the R-rated version, but most nerds and, horny boys wanted to see the unrated versions of everything.
Absolutely.
So they would either go to the mom and pop shop or they'd have to buy it directly from Suncoast Video.
Yep. Suncoast was the shit, man. And some of like in this movie in particular, yes, the kills make the movie so much more enjoyable, but it doesn't fix, some of the problems like the body hopping. And Zach and I will kind of discuss our thoughts on that when we sort of talk about Jason Goes to Hell proper. We're sort of breaking this up into sort of two halves. But just sort of the notable ones, Zach, obviously the tent kill. When we saw in the theater, it was, I think, cut, like frames were cut out of it, so it just happened so much quicker, you didn't really see it. We saw when poor Ward, the blonde kid, he gets his arm, the most insane compound fracture that's ever existed. We didn't see that in the theater at all. We didn't see like any inkling of it whatsoever. We just saw his face pushed against the glass. And
Right.
The guy melting, we got a bit more out of it from the unrated version. But actually my favorite kill is the unrated version of Vicky before, first off, MVP of the movie. She's just wrecking Jason, when Stephen Culp is playing Jason. And she eventually gets him impaled like on a rebarb thing. And then he pulls her on it. And she kind of, in the theater, she just dies there. But in the unrated version, he fucking, like as she's dying on the rebarb, he fucking squeezes her head and makes her brain pop out. Like it's like such a Mortal Kombat fatality. It's hilarious. And they do make the enjoyableness of the film go up.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you about Vicky being the kind of low-key hero of this film. In her death,
It goes out like a champ.
yeah. There's more gore. Like the coroner there's more gore when he bites into the heart and stuff like that.
And when he kills his assistant, I think there's more. You see his face is getting sort of waffled and everything.
Right. Ultimately, it's 3 minutes of not necessarily like more depth with the characters per se. It's more death with the characters per se. But I'm so glad that version exists. And in regards to the documentary that you watched, it's available through Synapse, I think, directly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's available on any streaming services yet. And I believe you could probably order it through like Diabolique DVD. They're a good. Also, just order through them directly, anyways. If you want to buy something, if you can go around, because they typically have the same prices as Amazon. It just takes a little bit longer with their delivery time because they're like a mom and pop boutique shop. But I love how the documentary touts that this guy, the director, Adam Marcus, was like only 23 at the time, right? And he's like that was a big deal. Like he was so young.
Yeah.
And I think about now a movie like Backrooms where the director is like 19 and everybody's, dude, I think that's awesome. Like whatever. Age is just a number, man. But 23 back then was really young.
Let's get into Adam Marcus's background and everything. So the documentary It's a fantastic one, by the way. I'll just come out and say it, guys and gals. It's an hour and 45 minutes. It's fan-fucking-tastic. Very well done. Very, all-inclusive. I mean, I don't think they've left any stone unturned, and they pretty much talk to everybody, who's alive, from the movie and everything about it. And it's really... Both times after I watched the documentary, I immediately rewatched the movie. It's a documentary that makes you want to go back and watch the movie and appreciate the movie. But the documentary does start out by telling us about Adam Marcus's background. So he grew up best friends with Sean Cunningham's son. So he was actually on set for Friday the 13th, the first movie. Now we're saying, oh, okay, so that's how he got the job. Honestly, the documentary spends the next hour and 45 minutes proving to you, the viewer, that he actually earned this job. It wasn't just given to him. So he was a graduate from NYU. His short film titled So You Like This Girl actually won Best Picture at NYU. He was supposed to direct My Boyfriend's Back, but it was sold to Disney. Originally it was supposed to be done, I think, by Dimension or New Line. It was supposed to be done by New Line. It was going to be a different film. It was sold to Disney. He was originally supposed to direct that. And since Sean Cunningham was sort of the facilitator of that sale, he kind of owed Adam Marcus a movie. So the way Adam Marcus tells it, he says Sean Cunningham says to Adam Marcus, New Line has it now, has the franchise now. You can make the next Friday 13th if you can figure out how to get the hockey mask out of the film. Apparently, Sean Cunningham has always hated the hockey mask. I don't know anything more about why or whatever. I think he just thought it was kind of dumb. But that was Adam Marcus's job, was to do that. So he pitched a body hopping thing because he says that The Thing is his favorite movie. And the idea of loss of self is terrifying to him, when you get taken over by another creature. Now, I will say this, after Zach and I have reviewed, The Hidden. The Hidden was never mentioned once in this documentary. And I think that is a little bit of a retcon on the part of the filmmakers here, because I mean, The Hidden was only, this is 93, so he's probably writing it in 92. The Hidden is only like 4 or 5 years earlier. He had to have thought about it. And it's okay. Like, it's okay if you were like, oh, I saw that movie. I totally forgot about it, but the idea, you know what I mean? Like, it's okay to own that. I just hate the fact that it's never mentioned. And I'll just add one last thing, Zach. Ned Eisenberg is Adam Marcus's uncle. We've seen, I know we've talked about him before as an actor, but I can't remember if we've actually ever reviewed anything with him. Maybe we saw him, I feel like we saw him in some sort of a tour de force film. That's how he sort of popped up, but yeah.
Fun fact, Ned Eisenberg is my proctologist. No, I'm kidding.
And when we get to it, sort of the cast discussion of Jason Goes to Hell, the guy who played the young cop, Randy, Kip Marcus, that's Adam Marcus's brother as well. But that guy was, he was on the Leave It to Beaver, the new Leave It to Beaver show. That's where I knew that guy from. I knew it. There's so much to talk about because the whole time Corey's talking, I'm like, chime in. So first of all, new Leave It to Beaver, Corey and I just talked, I briefly mentioned it on our 80s Kids Unite episode with Wayne when we surf culture. Depending on when this drops, it might already be out or it might come out soon. So stay tuned for that. And he's great, by the way. I feel like The Hidden might have been a New Line Cinema film when that came out. I feel like it was in 87. Yeah, dude, come on. I mean, it's like so obvious down to the fact that it looks just like the alien in The Hidden, the black thing. Yeah. Don't give me this. If they don't talk about it, it's fine. But it's a direct. I remember sitting in the theater watching going, oh, this is The Hidden, not thinking this is The Thing. If they're literally transferring the same way. I mean, one's supernatural and one is an alien from outer space, but who cares? That's neither said nor. I'm just going to flat out say they ripped it off from the Hidden. Yeah. And leave it at that. It's still on its own is a very good film. That concept is still really cool. It's fresh. Sean Cunningham, that's frustrating that he doesn't like The Mask, but The Mask started in part 3? The Mask started in part 3, and then continued the franchise. It's iconic. He went from a mask to
New Line had the glove with Freddy Krueger. So it's before we have Spider-Man and Sony and Disney with Marvel combining, and Marvel's able to use Spider-Man now and Sony gave up the rights. It's like, before all that discussion, this was a big deal to have just a tease of Freddy Krueger and things to come. They blew it with Freddy versus Jason and Jason X, you obviously love, but that was the only New Line Cinema Jason movie that came out after this, which is a shame. It's like you got this whole franchise, and what happened? Paramount was obviously the ones who did 1 through 8. I think, as a first-time director, he was accomplished. I thought what he did was fine. It's like, I didn't watch that and go, oh, that was a terrible choice.
No, it felt like a movie. Like, it didn't feel like a first-time film, And
it also felt like another Friday the 13th movie. It didn't feel like suddenly we're totally pivoting.
Yeah, it did feel fresh. The energy is there and everything like that, which is really cool. But yeah, we'll get into our proper Jason Goes to Hell discussion after we sort of talk about some other key members of the cast and crew. But yeah, my takeaway from the documentary as far as Adam Marcus goes is that it wasn't nepotism. He is a good director, even though he hasn't really done too much that we sort of know about. It's just not a lot of movies that I think we watch type of genres. But hey, the guy's working. That's great. I follow him on Instagram, by the way. He actually, posted that I was watching this. He reposted it, so you can actually communicate with him. He seems like a really nice guy. But my takeaway is, I think history's trying to admit the fact that this is a kind of a ripoff of The Hidden, but that doesn't take anything away from the film itself or from Adam Marcus himself either. I think he is a good director, and I think he earned the right to have the movie handed off to him. And, as you'll see in our discussion, I think he did a damn good job with it. And like the documentary even says, like, I think he even says in the documentary, it's like, you got 5 other movies you can watch with the hockey mask on. Like, you know what I mean? You still get your hockey mask stuff. I think the one of the harder pills to swallow is that Jason looks so fucking cool in this movie, and you kill him. Like, he was like one of my favorite looking Jason Voorheeses, and he gets taken out, but after having watched it so many times now, he's actually in it more than you kind of remember. Like, if you haven't seen this movie in years, like maybe 30 years or something, go back and watch it. You'll be surprised that the Kane Hodder Jason Voorhees that you love, he's in it more than you remember him being in it.
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I would also throw Shocker in there too, as far as body swapping is concerned.
Yeah, the Wes Craven movie, right?
Yeah, which I love. I like this movie more than Jason X, but
I know you
that's
do.
okay.
I know you do.
Yeah, I do, and I do because of the actors that are in it. Obviously, 2 specific actors really standing out to me, and I'm glad they're in the documentary and they talk about their roles in this film. And that, of course, being Stephen Williams and John D. LeMay. Like, I love those 2. And this, to me, felt like, I'm sure there had to be obvious influence, and maybe you can talk about that. Maybe it's touched upon in the documentary, but they had to be influenced from the Friday the 13th the TV series, because this was like an R-rated version of that.
Yeah.
And so I like when a franchise tries something different, and they're taking a huge risk on a franchise that is, so deep in folklore, and to go in a totally different direction is bold. But New Line was bold at that time too.
Yeah.
New Line took bold chances.
No, I agree with you. Yes, and John D. LeMay is on the documentary, and of course he needs an IMDb pick. I don't know why he doesn't have one.
Come on, John.
We talked about him when we talked about Friday the 13th, the TV series, and I think, obviously that was a part of him getting the role. And Stephen Williams, dude, as Creighton Duke, man. Dude, a talk about another character that me and my buddy Luke walked out of the movie theater being like, holy fucking shit. Obviously, we knew him from 21 Jump Street, but it's like, holy shit, we want to see more of him. And do you remember the rumor for a while that was like they were going to make a TV show based on his character and everything?
Yes.
How did we get those rumors before the internet. That was like a schoolyard rumor before the internet. Was it like maybe a small blurb in a Fangoria issue that just kind of went viral or something?
That's a really good question.
Because you and I both remember that the same way we remember the fact that there was the rumor that, Marilyn Manson had a rib removed so he could suck his own dick, or he was the kid from that TV show, The Wonder Years. Yeah. Like, how did those rumors, how did they permeate our subconscious, like, the zeitgeist without the internet, dude? And Creighton Duke was one of them.
Yeah, this is like the Mandela effect before the Mandela effect. Like, oh, I knew that thing. It was a thing, right? No, it wasn't a thing. Billy made it up.
Yeah.
Fucking Billy. Yeah, and Stephen Williams, like, he popped up on Yellowstone a couple years ago.
Oh, cool.
and in like a couple episodes, and I'm like, oh man. By the way, he works regularly.
Yeah.
He pops up in a lot of things that you and I probably don't necessarily watch, but that aside, he's so good. Like, I want to see more of him, and he isn't actually really, I know we're going to talk about the movie proper in a minute, but he really isn't in the movie all that much. He's like in maybe 4 scenes.
No, but when he's there, it's electric. Like, you're just like, holy crap, he's awesome.
Yeah. And he's going back to John D. LeMay. Like, I love that dude.
Yeah.
And I've only seen him in this and Friday the 13th, the series.
I know, and he'll forever sort of live in my mind because of that. Real quick, the documentary Adam Marcus was saying about Carrie Keegan, it was no knock on her, but his original casting for this character was Laurie Holden, the Walking Dead series. She was in Silent Hill, the first Silent Hill movie.
Yeah, she's good.
And once you know that, you look at Carrie Keegan, you're like, oh, I see why they cast you. They, again, I'm not knocking Carrie Keegan, but she's definitely the poor man's Laurie Holden. Like, you see it, you know what I mean? She looks just kind of like her,
Yeah, and then you realize how, and this isn't a knock or anything, but you realize how long Laurie Holden's been in the business.
I know. Laurie Holden's been around for a while. She is the superior actor. I don't think
she is superior. Carrie Keegan inferior. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I knew you were gonna go with that.
Just kidding. I'm not knocking. It's all good. And well, there's like, again, I know we're not going to talk about the movie.
That's okay. I mean, feel free to always interject movie stuff.
Well, Leslie Jordan, who plays Shelby in the movie.
Oh, I have a lot to talk about his casting and the casting of Rusty Schwimmer as well.
Okay, cool. Because, I mean, they are, talk about standouts. And Leslie Jordan, I think, who, rest in peace, he passed away a couple years ago. That was a huge hit. I know when he passed away, all these people were like so saddened by his passing. Yeah. And I forgot that he was in this. So when he popped up, I'm like, oh, that guy. I forgot about that guy.
So Joey B is Rusty Schwimmer and Shelby is Leslie Jordan. Shelby was originally written to be a woman and Joey B was written to be a man. So when apparently, and again, this is all from the documentary.
Interesting.
When Rusty Schwimmer got the role of Shelby, Adam Marcus said that he still had other women to audition, but he was kind of exhausted. He's like, hey, look, and again, I'm just sort of paraphrasing from the documentary. He said, hey, Rusty, I'm tired because he's been reading as Joey B all day and everything as the male part of the side of things. He was like, can you just read as the male for the rest of these the auditions? I want to at least, be honorable and give them the chance, even though you have the role. And she's like, oh, if I got the role, then yeah, of course I'll do it. No problem. So she's reading Joey B's stuff. And he says he just has an epiphany. He's like, he stops everything. He calls the writer and he's like, we are changing Joey B to her. Rusty Schwimmer is Joey B. And now he's like, now I need us to cast a small man for Shelby. And the casting director, who they also interviewed, he's like, I have just the person. And it was lightning in a bottle. So they reversed it. And I think, even when I first saw it in the theater, I didn't know who Leslie Jordan was back then, or even Rusty Schwimmer. They're two of my favorite parts of this entire fucking movie, and they are perfectly cast. And just to know that it was reversed originally, and it only happened because he had Rusty read for Joey B just for the auditions. The rest of them, it was perfect.
Yeah, because it takes you by surprise, but it's not like off-putting. It feels believable too. It's one of those moments. It's like seeing Jack Black in the movie Airborne, or seeing Paul Rudd in the Halloween movie, where you're like, oh yeah, that's what we're seeing Sam Rockwell in the Happy Hell Night, you're like, this is cool, but they actually have bigger roles. I mean, they have strong roles in this film, and it is a bummer when they get killed. Spoiler for anybody who's never seen this. And if you haven't seen it, what's wrong with you? Because you should have seen it by now.
Yeah. I think another reason, Zach, that though not being Jason, not seeing Jason as the killer, it works mostly for me when Stephen Culp is the Jason. I really like this dude, and I know we've seen him in other things, nothing we've ever covered, but I recognize him. He'll always be from Jason Goes to Hell for me, but I love the way he played Jason Voorhees. Like, he just had a look about him, and I really, really enjoyed. Apparently, what his contribution to the documentary, he was talking about, like, right when he got cast for this, he was about ready to quit acting because he wasn't really getting anything like popping. Nothing was really happening, and he was kind of like losing his like sort of love and zest for acting. And he's like, I credit this movie for reinvigorating my love for acting and making movies and television shows and everything. And I'm glad.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too about thank God we have the accessibility to watch these movies again decades later. And while they may be disappointing to some people at the time, I think with age and maturity, you end up appreciating it a lot more as time goes on. I know I did. And it's great that this documentary wasn't just like a 15-minute add-on to a bonus, on the disc of an Arrow release or something like that. The fact that it gets its own singular release is very cool. And I will encourage people again to go to Synapse and Diabolique if they have it there. I don't know if they have it there, but still check out what they have because they have great stuff. And the fact that they back this into an hour and 45 minutes with like a lot of behind the scenes footage and obviously, like you said, they interview everybody that's connected with the movie that's still alive, and that's really special. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm assuming this movie was supposed to kick off a whole new franchise, but it just never came to fruition.
Yeah, I mean, he never really talks about like what their plans were for after it. It did decently well at the box office. He said that the reception at first was actually very positive to the body jumping thing. He was like, it wasn't until the internet sort of started popping a few years later that you just start getting the negative feedback and everything. And I think that's the internet, man. I think the internet is garbage in general. But I think that if the unrated version had screened originally, I think a lot of people's memories of this would be a lot more positive. Like I said, for me, my love really started when we got the unrated version and everything. But yeah, man, like just to kind of round out the rest of the cast, like you got Aaron Gray, you got Richard Gant, who's fucking amazing. Billy Green Bush is fucking in this, like he's fucking great too. Allison Smith plays Vicky. She's been around forever. Like she was in fucking Kate and Alley, and I think she was in like Silver Spoons. Like she's one of those kid actors that just been around forever.
Yeah, and Billy Greenbush, I will say he's underutilized in this because I love him so much. Yeah. And, I think people would remember him from Critters and The Hitcher, but he's been around for a long, long time. I thought he passed away, but I think he's still alive. I think I don't want to jinx myself.
Oh,
Y'all know how I work.
Oh boy.
But yeah, he's like in this I want to see him utilized more. Because his dynamic with Aaron Gray, who's like his girlfriend in the movie, was, I felt like that could have been fleshed out a little bit. Speaking of Aaron Gray, it's so refreshing to see her pop up. And you said Silver Spoons. Obviously, she was in Silver Spoons, but Buck Rogers, I think those are the only things I ever saw her in. And so I see her in this. I'm like, that's another thing that blew me away when I saw this movie in the theater. I'm like, wait, that's Aaron Gray. You know, this is before the days of Tarantino using actors that you had only seen from the 70s or, you know, the early 80s, and then they pop up and you're like, whoa, cool. This was, for me, one of the first times I'd seen an actor that I'd only seen on television be in the movies and go, whoa, that's awesome. Like, I got really excited. And then she gets killed, and that was really a bummer.
I know. I loved her, too, because I had a huge crush on her as a kid. I loved Buck Rogers. I loved Silver Spoons as a kid. I always wanted that train you could ride around your house on and everything.
Dude, I did too. Ricky Schroeder when he was cool.
I always wanted my own Aaron Gray. So, yeah. Oh, boy. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, when I saw her in the theater, I was like, oh, that's the lady from Buck Rogers. You know, like, kind of forget that when you're a kid, you know, you don't have IMDb next to you. But...
Well, it's not just that. I was like, yeah, it's the lady from Buck Rogers, and it's the guy from 21 Jump Street.
Yeah,
and the guy from Friday the 13th, the TV. This is TV actors in a movie.
Yeah,
this is cool.
That's exactly what went through our mind as well. Me and Luke, I'm sure. Yeah, we didn't know their names. It was just like, yo, shit, it's that person.
But great casting choices. Like, that should be props as well.
Yeah, and I do want to call out the FBI agent at the beginning, Julie Michaels. We saw her in Roadhouse. She plays Denise in Roadhouse, and she's also in Point Break. I think she does a lot of fighting in Point Break, I believe, she's Freight Train in Point Break, but I haven't seen Point Break in forever.
We actually we toe dip on that on our 80s Kids Unite episode in regards to surf culture because it's 80s. Point Break is 1991, so we don't include that. But yeah, I think she is mostly known for she's a badass.
Yeah.
And she's definitely a badass in the beginning of this. I didn't recognize her as a kid because Roadhouse came out in 89 and I remember her in that, and she's blonde in that.
She's blonde, yeah.
She's brunette in this, and I didn't recognize her outside of that. But then now I watch it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. And then in Point Break, yeah, she's a badass. Not doesn't seem uncomfortable getting naked on screen because she's done it a couple times.
Yeah, no, I know. It's funny because when I think of Point Break and I think of any women in it, I think of Lori Petty. I don't think of her. I don't even remember her character, to be honest.
Pretty sure she's one of the punks. With Vince Klein and Anthony Kiedis when he gets his foot shot off.
Yeah. But yeah, like you said, dude, like. This cast is actually pretty fucking awesome. And, you know, now, so it's been during this week in prepping for this episode, I've watched the documentary twice and I've watched Jason Goes to Hell twice. And I can tell you on my Letterboxd Friday the 13th, like ranking of the films, Jason Goes to Hell has moved up in my rankings. And yeah, man, unless you have anyone else to discuss, from the cast and crew, I'm down to get into it.
Well, I mean, the what do you call it? The elephant in the room is talking about Kane Hodder.
Oh yeah,
and Kane wasn't the only person to play Jason. The fact that he loves playing Jason, like he clearly loves that role, and I appreciate that so much. You know, and there's only so much you can do in a suit, right? And he's got no speaking. It's like Michael Myers, same deal. But, you don't see Nick Castle, who played the Shape, or Dick Warlock, who played the Shape in the different Halloween movies. You don't see those guys like constantly saying, oh, that was my favorite role. Kane Hodder's like, no, Jason is my favorite role.
Yeah.
And they show that he's got, kill tattooed on the inside of his mouth.
That's pretty crazy.
I dated a girl once who had a mouth tattoo. That was interesting.
Wow. Wow.
They got yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, so Kane Hodder.
So yeah. Also too, as a kid, you and I, we just blew right past that. What word was wrapped around your dick at one point? What was the word, by the way? I do want to know. Do you remember?
Sick.
Oh God, Zach, your life.
Why? Why?
So we were both Fango kids. You and I were both Fango kids.
Yeah.
Did you mark out for seeing Kane Hodder on screen when we see him in the movie? As one of the two security guards and everything. Do you remember? Did you pop for that back in the day?
I think I did. Yeah, I did. I was like, oh God, with his mullet, because he clearly stands out. You're like, he does not look like your typical
SWAT team dude or whatever.
SWAT team dude, yeah, police officer or whatever. And this is before Wishmaster, right? I think Wishmaster might have come out around the same time.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I also remember that being a big deal in Wishmaster was when I think it was him and Robert Englund, all the famous slashers.
97.
Yeah, were killed off. I remember Fango making a big deal of that in Wishmaster also.
Oh yeah, and I know there are people that love Wishmaster. I'm not a big fan.
No.
Granted, I haven't seen it since I saw it in the theater. I love Andrew Divoff. It just was below expectations because they used kind of cheap CGI at one point. And I know the big thing was K&B's using their effects, and that's cool, but the movie has to be more than just a Stan Winston movie, you know what I mean, or a K&B film. It was like the Expendables of horror icons at the time. But yeah, I think Wishmaster hadn't come out yet, so it wasn't we hadn't reached the point of fandom taking over for movies where we're just going to throw this guy in here and get a big pop. So seeing Kane show up, you're like, oh, yeah, I know who he is. And then he's dead. You're like, oh, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, it was a nice cut.
yeah, I appreciate it. And again, watching this movie 33 years later, I'm like, dang, the special effects look fantastic.
Yeah.
So, props to the FX guys. I know they had a very tight budget and also a limited shooting schedule. They shot it really fast. So that doesn't always bode well for a movie. But it doesn't come across that way. I think ultimately there's some amazing moments, and I know we'll talk about that when we discuss the film proper. But circle back to the fact I'm glad they made a documentary this extensive about this movie.
Yeah, and I'll just kind of tie up that part of the discussion by saying I highly recommend you guys picking it up if you're a fan of horror movie documentaries. It's great. If you're a fan of this movie, if you're a fan of Jason Goes to Hell, then it's a must watch. If you're on the fence on whether you like Jason Goes to Hell or not, watch this documentary. I think it might actually sway you into the positive. So it's worth checking out. It's one of the and the production value for it is just fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah, the box art's cool too, and it comes with a slipcase, doesn't it?
Yep, sure does. Yeah, it's really nice. It's well worth it. Well worth the money. So happy to support it. And it made me like Adam Marcus as a person. So yeah.
Props to him for making a movie that, decades later, people are still talking about it and enjoying. I know it's part of a franchise, but still, Living Daylights doesn't get talked about all that much.
Yeah.
In the Bond.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All right. So let's roll the trailer and talk about Jason Goes to Hell.
I'm Robert Campbell. For over 20 years, the mere mention of the name Jason Voorhees has been enough to send a shudder of fear through the hearts of an entire nation. He has been responsible for 83 confirmed murders and speculated scores of others.
I don't think so.
What you think of as Jason, not Jason. The body he's wearing, that's just me.
What does he want?
Same thing he wanted our mother for.
You can't trust anyone.
I stabbed him with a poker right through the heart, and the son of a bitch still lives.
You will always be in danger until Jason is dead. He won't stop coming for you until he's reborn. In a Voorhees was he born. Through a Voorhees may he be reborn.
Jason Goes to Hell. Welcome back to WKIL radio. We're talking Jason Goes to Hell. Bing bong. It's Tuesday somewhere in the world.
So I guess it was, and I should have mentioned in the cast, and I'm sorry, guys and gals, but I guess it was lost on you that those two cops that get their heads smashed together, they were Mark and Brian, and in 93, you were living in LA, or you were in Sunnydale in LA?
93, I was in Sunnyvale.
Okay,
so I probably
Sunnyvale.
saw this at Sunnyvale Town Center.
Okay,
And,
so Mark and Brian probably weren't a thing for you. I didn't know who the fuck they were. I'm just saying that apparently they were a big deal back in 93 on LA radio, and those are the two cops that get their heads smashed together.
yeah, we had KSJO and KOME.
Okay.
KOME, you know. KOME will make your music come to you.
KUME.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, we had our own radio morning guys, and not those dudes, but whatever. Yeah, I was picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah. So, Zach, let's start at the beginning. This whole bait and switch opening act. You think you're following just a lady who's camping or at a cabin in the woods and everything, and it turns out that she's a honeypot for trapping Jason. Her body is banging, and Jason chases her through the woods, and she leads him into a trap, and he gets fucking obliterated by a bunch of SWAT team members. So, Zach, I've never talked about this on the podcast. I don't even know if you know about it, because I kind of forgot about it until I watched this movie. Before the documentary, I had maybe seen Jason Goes to Hell once in the past 25 years, you know? When this came out on VHS, I recorded this whole opening segment on my cassette tape. So I was just audio, and I would re-listen to Jason getting gunned down as I would walk my dog at night, because I thought it was just kind of funny and interesting, because you can hear Jason taking hits. He's like going as he's like getting hit and everything.
Yeah,
and so as
ridiculous.
I'm rewatching the movie, I'm listening to it, and I have so much more memory and nostalgia for the audio from that part, because I know every sound that he makes, and even when like his butt jiggles when he's like getting shot and everything. But
That's
I'm like,
amazing.
what a weird, why did I do that? I was like 15 years old, and I guess I just loved this opening scene so much. I thought it was so interesting, and again, I thought Jason was cool looking. But yeah, man, talk about your thoughts on this opening act and like what happens to Jason.
I love it. I love the bait and switch. And it's at the time, 93, we hadn't seen kind of a flip on the script yet, as far as horror films kind of saying, we know you think we're going to go left, but we're going to turn right just to fuck with you. Like I don't remember seeing that back in the day. So it was a cool surprise. I think I was in awe of Julie Michaels more than anything else, and I was like, "Oh, that was a short scene. What happened?" You know. But no, it's great. It's great, and when they obliterate him, that's like the thing I would world build with all the time. I'm like, why don't they just blow him up? You know. Monster Squad proved that you can't always do that with characters that live forever, because they suck back in.
Yeah.
Like
the Wolfman.
Yeah, Wolfman, or that thing, Mangalore Mountain, where you can put the guy back together.
Yeah,
that
Mangalore,
80s toy.
yeah.
Yeah. So no, I love this scene, and it's a great way to set up the movie. I'm watching it decades later. I'm still enjoying it.
And I know I commented on it, but what are your thoughts on the design of Jason Voorhees in this, especially how his mask is just fused onto his head at this point?
Yeah, because the last one I saw was, Jason goes to Manhattan or whatever, takes Manhattan, and where he like melts and then like reforms, right? He's kind of reborn in that one.
That's such a weird, he melts with the toxic waste in the sewers, and then she for a brief second sees him as a baby before, but I think that's just a vision, type of thing.
And this is way before we're even discussing what metaverses are. This is way before we're discussing what multiverses are. So, that whole concept of like, well, this is a different timeline. No, that wasn't the case back then. This is all supposed to be the same timeline. So at this point, I feel like my mind went to like, oh, they're trying to reboot the series when I saw Jason looking like that. And then they blow him up and I'm like, oh shit, where are they going?
Right. Yeah. It's like, I look at it now. And I know back then it was like, oh, it's a big, like, how is this following part 8? And Sean Cunningham apparently, said, hey, just pick it up after part 7 where he's just in the water, don't worry about part 8. I think, and I don't think part 8 did well. Fans kind of didn't really love it and everything. But nowadays, Zach, we have so many examples of like movies that have gone, franchises that have gone so long that you don't need to consider the movie prior. Like, let's take Mad Max, for example. Like, Fury Road didn't need to consider what happened in Beyond Thunderdome. It's just like, and it's like this idea that you're just telling different stories about this character. It's like you're around a campfire tale. One person tells the story of Road Warrior. One person tells the story of Fury Road, and it's different. Here, one person tells the story of Part 2. One person tells the story of, Part 7, and then one person tells the story of Jason Goes to Hell. Like, we don't need them to be sequential and have what happened in the previous movie matter. You know what I mean? Like, at this point, there's just so many. Just throw it in. And they did that with the remake too. It kind of like, it sort of like replaces Part 2 and Part 3. It kind of gets inserted in between the middle of those. It's just like, it's Jason. He's out there. He's just an entity, a thing. Like, you can just tell stories about him that don't have to be pertaining to the previous film.
Yeah, and I love that Michael Bay produced remake.
Me too.
I think it's way better than I anticipated it being. And unlike, Nightmare on Elm Street that tried to keep a thread throughout and really missed, in my opinion. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which, as much as I love Part 2, they should have just stopped after Part 2.
Yeah.
Just kind of left it at that. Part 3, I like Leatherface. It's enjoyable. But as a one-off, it is what it is. Also, yeah, I mean, the Friday the 13th could go in so many different directions. It always did. There was never a through line, with the exception of a couple, right, where Tommy Jarvis would pop up, which I loved. I loved Tommy Jarvis, and we talked to Tom Matthews way back when a little bit about that.
One of our first interviews, yeah.
Right, and so, I'm super happy with like them just trying to do something different and go, okay, well, let's see what happens. And what ends up happening is a really wild concept, albeit not totally original and fresh, but still it's fresh enough for Friday the 13th.
Yeah, and the tent scene, the three, hikers or hitchhikers that go to the camp to, smoke weed, have sex, and not get slaughtered, because everyone knows Jason Voorhees is dead. That actually makes me think of another thing. It's like, this movie's also meta before we knew what meta was, because it's almost like the people in the movie were the same as us, whereas we understood the history of Jason. We've known about him. He's become this icon in their world the same way he's become an icon in our world. We saw that in A New Nightmare as well. It's like, it's almost the same sort of thing. These movies, these slashers go on so long that you almost have to address the fact that the average person in the movie is just as aware as we are as the viewers of that character.
Yeah, and again, like you said, it's at the time was fresh.
Yeah. And so the hikers, him picking the hikers up, and then that whole scene, that was added in later because the first cut of the movie was 80 minutes long, and when they screened it, knowing they were going to have to add some more stuff to it, but it was still a rough cut, and they screened it, everyone was like, oh, we want more of what we want, which is nudity and, killing. And they're like, okay, let's, Adam Marcus is like, okay, I'll give it to you, but I'm going to telegraph that I'm giving it to you, just like how sort of LeMay is talking in the car. He's like, you're going to get it, but it's going to be, you're going to see it coming. But then you don't see that kill coming. Probably one of the greatest kills in the franchise itself. And the documentary also spends just as much time getting into the special effects of things, and they talk about that kill. The guy and the girl who were having sex, apparently they were a boyfriend and girlfriend previously. They had broken up, but were on still good terms. So that's why they clearly have chemistry in the movie, because they've had sex before. But the poor girl, like, to cast that mold, she had to have a full body cast done, and she had to be in that pose, like riding him. Like, they had her sitting on something nude, but she had to be there for an hour while they cast it and everything. So,
wow, that's commitment.
She says she was a trained ballerina, so her body, she was used to like kind of doing things like that. And so it kind of plays as a short film of its it plays as a self-contained story in the movie, and it almost plays like remember in the remake, there's that first half, that first segment that everyone.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I feel like that was an homage to this one. in a way, because it's like a little vignette, like a little kill vignette. It doesn't feel disjointed. It doesn't feel out of place. And, John D. LeMay, when he pops up and you're like, oh, cool, I love this dude. And it's funny because it's like, on paper, I shouldn't love this dude because he's kind of got a squeaky voice and he's kind of dorky and nerdy, and he's got like Coke bottle glasses that he wears in the first, half of the movie. But then you're like, but I do like this guy.
Yeah, same. Yes, he has a little bit of a glow up in the second half too.
Yeah, he sure does. Whoa, big time. He pulls like a Jackie Chan move at one point. I'm like, dang, when he hops through his handcuffs. So the potential of him going with them is there, and I like that he doesn't. But the scene makes sense. It doesn't feel disjointed, which I appreciate.
Yeah, and Zach, watching that kill now, the tent kill, if this was made in 2 years later and on, it would have been CGI, bro.
Oh,
it would have
big
been
time.
CGI, and since it's not, dude, how does it hold up for you, man? Like, how does that kill hold up for you?
It's great. And again, like, what I know, practical effects are hard, but please do them more, because it adds to the scene so much more than if they just used a CGI body. Like look at what CGI did to that movie we cover with Treat Willing, Deep Rising. Look what CGI did to Deep Rising. Where you're like, oh, but it's so CGI, it's so fake. Like, it just takes you out of it. This didn't take me out of it.
No.
And what you'd see in the unrated version is the actual kill versus in the edited version, which is like, it's from her perspective down.
Right. Yeah, you just see him getting sprayed and everything, and it's so lame because the kill itself is just fucking insane.
Yeah, it is.
Hey everybody, Corey here. I just wanted to let you know that we'll be right back after these short messages. Hello there, Star Wars fans.
And fellow whiskey nerds.
Our podcast, Star Wars and Whiskey Pours, gives you a weekly shot of whiskey reviews,
combined with hot takes from all things in a galaxy far, far away.
So if you need a little Boba Fett and Blantons in your life,
or some Jedi and Jameson, then join me, Adam,
and me, Corey, on the Star Wars and Whiskey Pours podcast.
Found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all your favorite podcatchers.
May the whiskey be with you.
Hey everybody, I'm Tim.
And I'm Dean.
And we're the hosts of Talking Back. We're a retro-based podcast covering movies, comics, video games, and more.
Check us out every Monday, where we hit the rewind button and dig into some of our favorite content from the past. We like to keep things fun, lighthearted, and informative.
Do you feel like you need more nostalgia in your life? Then check out Talking Back. We're available everywhere podcasts are found.
Have you been wondering where's the beef? Well, on our podcast, Throwback Trivia Takedown, you might just find that out, as well as some other things about the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
We're a nostalgic-based trivia show that pits two challengers head-to-head in a duel of the decades, with categories ranging from movies, TV, and music, to slang, food, and fashion. You're sure to get the best in retro-themed trivia.
So strap on your jelly shoes, grab a surge, and walk like an Egyptian to your favorite podcast app and check out Throwback Trivia Takedown.
I heard even Mikey likes it.
And now, back to the show. Like, rewatching this movie, I understand the hate that it gets, but at the same time, if you walk away, take a step back from that whole idea of and look at it for a horror movie, what it is, dude, it's got great kills. It's got a lot of nudity in it. Like, it's got everything you kind of want from a Friday the 13th film. Great character actors that you don't see in movies, giving a fantastic performance. Like, maybe on paper this is not supposed to work, but I think all of that does work, and a lot of it has to do with Adam Marcus.
I love the body swapping concept. I think it's done actually well enough in this. And look, you take the franchise as a whole, and the story is like so basic, it's the kids coming back for revenge for the counselors that wronged him. And this kind of tries to expand on this. I know we said it earlier in the episode, but it's like they're taking a risk, and you're making, on one hand, I also appreciate that stereotypically throughout this, it's been a female protagonist.
Yeah.
That kind of lives at the end.
Yeah, like Amy Steele in part 2 and everything like that.
Yeah, and the fact that Freeman is Stephen Freeman, played by John D. LeMay, he's kind of the hero in this. The what do you call it? Unexpected hero.
Yeah.
Which is refreshing, because initially you're like, oh, maybe Creighton Duke is going to be played by Stephen Williams. He's going to be the hero, and he's not really, if you think about it. And then Carrie Keegan, who plays Jessica Kimball in this, she's not really, I mean, she takes Jason out at the end. She's the one that does the final kill, but she has to do it with, Freeman's help, basically.
And, there's two things I want to talk about. I want to roll back just a hair. And what works for me is it fills in that giant plot hole that everyone talks about, which is Jason, the kid, he died when he was like 11 or 12. How in part 2 does he come back as a full-grown man? Well, because maybe that full-grown man, he just jumped into that body, and maybe his mom used the Necronomicon to bring him back before she was killed, before she was decapitated.
Cool concept.
It works for me, man. It even worked for me back then. Again, my biggest complaint was when I was a kid is that the movie felt tame until you see the unrated version. It's infinitely better. But Zach, let me ask you this. Is the movie sort of bearing the lead with the whole hidden body jumping thing? Because we also have a new concept here. We have the sister of Jason Voorhees. Like, we have the fact that Pamela had another kid. So Erin Gray is the sister of Jason Voorhees. I even think it's a little bit downplayed in the movie, but when you think about it, that's another like big concept that they've added to this. And like, how do you feel about that? Like, what do you think about Jason having a sister?
I love that. I just wish they hadn't killed her, because it's like they have it and then she's gone. You're like, oh, but the potential there of what they could have done was missed. So it is a letdown. I like that idea.
And as far as potential miss, like, I would have liked to have seen her talk to her as her brother, being like, I remember taking care of you and trying to give you some, like, I don't know. Or even like, I remember teaching you archery, and then kind of give him his whole, like, from the earlier movies and everything. I think that's why it doesn't, you kind of even forget that she's his sister, because she never really interacts at all with Jason. And when she does, she's like, oh my God. And there's no interaction there. She just feels like a victim and not blood related.
Yeah, it's a miss.
Right.
It's a miss. Sorry. Let's be honest. People rip this movie up left and right, and we're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that, because I found it overall very enjoyable. But that's one of those things where you're like, oh, but you could have gone, okay, fine.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like you're going for the big payoff at the end with Freddy's mask coming out and pulling, or Freddy's glove coming out and pulling Jason's mask into the ground. Why he does that, we'll never know, because they never follow up on that.
Yeah.
It's one of those life mysteries,
Yeah, I know. We were supposed to get that. I think we were supposed to get that movie way early on, and it took forever. My sort of miss, and what I do think would actually help the film, is if, I know we see Jason Voorhees in the reflections of the mirrors and stuff a couple times in his true form as the actor who as the character he's body swapped into. Like, we see them in the main part of the frame. I wish at some point they would just switch over to having us seeing Jason Voorhees, even though we know as the viewing audience that the characters in that universe like see Stephen Culp, but I wish we saw Jason Voorhees more. But then knowing that Sean Cunningham wanted the mask removed, from the movie, then it makes more sense. But I think that would have been more of a hit with the fans.
Yes. I mean, this is a question of the producer getting involved and altering it, and the director, having to do that. Like, even if whether that was something he wanted to do or not, like the fact that they did, I agree with you. Didn't Erin Gray's character, Diana, didn't she see him in the mirror?
Yep, that's one of the handful of times it happens. She looks up and sees that deputy, and she's like, oh, it's Jason, and then even he sees himself in the mirror. And there's one other time, I think, when Gant is walking the and he walks by a mirror and it's Jason. I think that was
Yeah.
kind of it. You could have done that more, you know?
Yeah, because I think that's where you get the hidden comparisons a lot because the body's falling apart.
Yeah.
By the way, the one cop
Who melts when he
melts,
comes.
I was like, oh, I wonder if Kostansky got that in Psycho Gorman with
With Biocop.
Biocop.
It's a great melt. He looks fucking fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All the effects. I mean, again, it's K&B, dude. It's fucking K&B.
Well, even the CGI effects at the end where the lights are coming out of his body,
Yeah.
it looks decent. It looks cool. And that final scene where the arms of which I world build are his victims that are pulling him down into
Okay.
hell. I love that. It's such a great moment. It's a great way to close out the film with and the franchise.
I love when Richard Gant is getting possessed, and they actually do, because they showed behind the scenes footage of it. They do have little light flashes going off under his shirt as those. It's just, it works, man. It's like this combination of optical effects and actual practical effects, and Richard Gant just having a blast and getting into it as a whole, you know?
Yeah, that dude, he's great in Rocky V, by the way, because he's like the Don King type promoter in Rocky V. He's really good.
Not gonna lie, as a kid, a good actor, but I don't know. I always gravitated to Richard Gant. I always kind of liked him wherever he's always popped up in all these little things. Someone's like, hey, that guy, I like that guy. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It's just one of those things you sort of latch on to as a kid.
Yeah, and I didn't realize he had such an extensive career as well.
Yeah, he's been around forever. And then, kind of like Creighton Duke, awesome. We talked about him already. I remember for a time there was the rumor that we were gonna get a show of him, and I don't know how true that ever was, but he kind of goes out a little unceremoniously here. I kind of wish he had more of a fight, or even like when he was like, remember me? And it's like, well, when? Why would Jason ever remember you? Like, you know what I mean? I want to know what that connection is. I wanted more of Creighton Duke, I think.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity again. That's another thing that, these are some of the misses that we go, oh, but you could have done so much more. Could have done so much more. Could have.
But at the expense of a perfect runtime of 90 minutes, would you want it to be an hour and 35 if you got more Creighton Duke?
Yes.
Oh boy, I did not expect that.
I would for him.
For him, yeah. Literally only for 5 more minutes of Creighton Duke.
Just Stephen Williams is such a great actor, so he's great.
Yeah.
But yeah. Or you can trim other things out, I don't need to see like Randy and John D. LeMay's character like interacting as much. I like just trim that out a little bit. It is funny though when they battle each other. Randy's the like deputy cop or whatever that gets turned into Jason at one point towards the end. He's like, I've got a gun, and he goes, fuck you, I've got a gun.
Yeah. They felt like childhood friends, fighting and everything. And I maybe don't need it either, but I actually kind of like that scene a lot,
I like that scene too.
It's got some good character stuff to it.
It does. But yeah, this is one of those movies where you could add more, what is that, exposition,
Yeah,
but
character, yeah.
Yeah, but like what we got at the end is something special. I think it's still unique. There's nothing else like, there's nothing else like Jason X also, but because people often say like the first couple of Friday the 13th movies, they're like, oh, I could go with two I don't really need to deal with. 4 is okay. 3 obviously is with 3D and then he gets his mask, but this one, like, I like the direction it's going in.
Yeah. Last thing on my list, Zach, is a question to you. Is Jason Voorhees a Deadite?
Oh, he is now.
Well, I mean, was he always, I guess, technically, if they used the Necronomicon to bring him back? Are we supposed to believe he's always been a Deadite, essentially?
I'm sure, right? Like, there's nothing, I don't think there's anything ever wrong with trying to, I use Masters of the Universe for an example. There's no definitive Bible. This is the way it's supposed to be. Like, I guess Paramount was doing that initially with the first few, but then it kind of fell off the rails, and you're like, okay, it can kind of go in any other direction, you know? Nowadays, I'm trying to think off the top. I can't think off the top of my head, but movies get remade all the time now, and in this day and age, it's just expected that if we're going to reboot a franchise, we can go in any direction we want. I think this was so close to the previous sequel where people were like, oh, no. Like, we weren't ready for it yet.
Right.
In 2026, we're ready for it now. We're ready for a new direction or vision now, but we weren't back then.
So if Jason Goes to Hell came out exactly the same, but it came out like in the 2000s or something with a decent, like maybe 10 years in between part 8, people might have been more accepting of it, but it was so close. You're expecting it to be just another probably cookie cutter Friday 13th movie, which I think people wanted. They kind of wanted at the time. But
well, we got it, didn't we?
Yeah, and we got it with the remake. Honestly, it's funny because that's how we did get that with the remake, although that was sort of an exception to the rule because that was done really well, and you and I both feel the same way about it. We both think it was done better than we ever expected it to be. And I believe The Nightmare on Elm Street came out before it, and so maybe that helped it because that movie was fucking terrible.
Oh, the one with
Haley
Jackie Earl Haley?
Yeah,
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, Jackie Earl Haley, that like devoid of all humor to it whatsoever.
That came out after, I think.
Okay. God, that thing sucked. And it goes to show why it's so much easier, and I think why so many slashers now, we know the formula. They got to be wearing a mask because you can put anyone behind the mask. If Freddy will always be Robert Englund, I don't think we'll ever get another Freddy. I don't think so. I think he's too closely aligned with Robert Englund.
We'll tell the people that are making the new one then, I guess.
Oh boy.
Rumor.
We already tried.
But yeah,
that.
like give me that first Halloween that came out of this latest trilogy. Just give me that.
Yeah, just
give
that
me this
one
Friday
of
the 13th.
yeah.
Just the one, because he's dead at the end of that.
Yep.
Allegedly. And then don't give me another Friday the 13th. Yeah, it's Robert Englund or nobody else.
Exactly. You know, I'm sure in 20 years AI will be good enough that it'll happen and it'll be completely Robert Englund even though he isn't.
Sure.
You know, is gone. But yeah, my final thoughts on Jason Goes to Hell is I think it holds up really, really fucking well. I think I'm sure there's a lot of you listening who haven't watched it in years. I implore you. The rated R version doesn't fucking exist. If you have a DVD with, throw that away. It's the unrated version is the only version of this movie that should ever be watched moving forward. But if you haven't seen it in years, give it a rewatch. I think you might be surprised at how good it is. And a lot of it's the practical effects, man. They hold up so fucking well. And yeah, if you want just more of the same, which I love. I mean, Friday 13th is my favorite slasher franchise. I rewatch part 2 all the time. I rewatch part 3 all the fucking time. I actually like part 5. It's got actually a massive, kill count in part 5. I rewatch them all. I fucking love them. Don't watch Jason Takes Manhattan that much, but I also didn't rewatch this one for a while either. And I think this one's gonna go back into my rotation because it holds up well. I really fucking like it actually.
Yeah, I'll rewatch Jason Takes Manhattan.
The only thing I really like about Jason Takes Manhattan, Zach, is I like that the color of his mask, it almost looks like glow-in-the-dark green when it's not glowing in the dark. It's that weird off-white yellow look to it.
I like that too.
But yeah, those are my final thoughts on Jason Goes to Hell. I actually really fucking dig it, Zach. I think you've said it multiple times, but just wrap it up, you know?
Yeah, no, my final thoughts are similar. I'm happy to have rewatched it all these years later and pleasantly surprised. And I'm glad that you can rewatch a movie like this and go, oh, actually, no, I like this more now. So that being said, I'm going to watch Wishmaster again soon and hope it lives up to an expectation.
Yeah, that was not one of my favorite franchises as a kid. I think I only ever saw part 1.
Ugh.
Yeah, I was like, not my cup of tea. But Zach, maybe you'll watch Jason X again.
I will rewatch that. Okay, push Wishmaster aside. I'll watch Jason X.
One of these days, we're going to review it proper as one of my picks because
I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to try.
I'm happy to try. I appreciate that, buddy. I appreciate that. Zach, this is kicking off season 8 of Podcast After Dark, August. So we've just kicked off season 8. Guys and gals, thank you so much for supporting the show for all those 7 years. It's been absolutely amazing. If you're a Patreon member, you know that we have another poster by Dan Parker coming. He's done every single one of our seasonal posters, and they're fucking amazing. So you can check that out on Instagram. We'll post it there on our Instagram page. And then Patreon members will get access to the full res, high resolution image that they can print out if they want to, because they paid for it. We use the Patreon money to pay for it. And we love Dan Parker. He always makes some amazing stuff. At the time of this recording, it's not done yet, so we haven't actually seen it, but I can only assume it's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's going to be amazing.
Every year it's amazing. You know what else is amazing? I mean, Zach, you're in pretty much a new season of $2 Late Fee as well, aren't you?
Yeah, September is the official 8-year anniversary for $2 Late Fee.
Okay, well then scratch that. Then fuck that. How are you closing out season 7 of $2 Late Fee in August?
Not with Dustin. So closing out with a revisit to a beloved classic favorite of mine from the archives of $2 Late Fee. One of the second or third episode we covered Quicksilver with Kevin Bacon. Well, Wayne's joining me to discuss Quicksilver.
Megatrain.
Yeah, so we're doing a kind of season. I always cap the season in December, but for August we're talking about $2. We're talking about Quicksilver. And then Joel Weiss, who is in Quicksilver, but he's mostly known as Cropsy from The Warriors, joined me for a really fun interview. And that guy's got some great stories. He's got a great Louis Anderson story. I'll tease that. So you don't want to miss out on that episode. Yeah. And that's where $2 Late Fee is headed. And, Territory Marks will be marching in the following month as well. So steamrolling along.
There we go, baby. And of course, check out our Tour de Force tier on Patreon. Zach and I are currently in the first quarter of Larry Cohen movies. I mean, he's got a large catalog, so it's going to take us over a year to get through everything. So we're kind of in just this first section, but we're having a blast.
Started.
Yeah, we're
having a blast and just getting started.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the movie we'll be covering in August is God Told Me To, and it's been a hell of a ride so far. I can't wait to see where it goes. Hopefully, the trajectory stays strong. We'll see.
Me also.
Exactly. And as always,
ha ha ha! It's me, Freddy Krueger. Catch you on the dark side, bitch. Ha ha.
Be sure to subscribe to Podcasting After Dark on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. You can support the show by joining our Patreon page, picking up a t-shirt from our merch store, or leaving us a 5-star review. Follow us on Instagram at Podcasting After Dark. All links can be found on our website at www.podcastingafterdark.com. And join us next time for another cult movie or TV show review with Corey Stevenson and Zach Schaefer.
Hey everybody, it's me, Corey.
And Zach.
We wanted to tell you all about our exclusive Patreon tier called A Tour de Force, where each season we go through a different auteur's complete filmography in order from beginning to end.
If you sign up now for just $5 a month, you unlock our complete back catalog for John Carpenter, Don Coscarelli, and William Lustig. That's over 50 episodes.
And we are currently going through Larry Cohen's filmography, so you'll get all those episodes as well.
Thank you to everyone that supports Podcasting After Dark on Patreon.
You keep the show going. And as always,
we'll catch you on the dark side.